Welcome back, guys. You're watching Talcomania. And well, I found time to do a ranking. Last week I did Annihilator, and this week I thought, oh, why not do Dokken? So that's the band we're going to be ranking today. Ranking all their studio albums. They have 11. I like every single one of them. There's a lot of people that don't like the later albums, and I personally like those ones. With my list, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people because Dokken is one of those bands that, like, if you rank them incorrectly, you're going to garner some hate, and I will be garnering some hate on this one. Starting off at number 11, usually people's one that they usually put down here, Long Way Home from 2002. Yeah, this album has some really good songs on it. My favorite ones on here is Magic Road, Sunless Days, Everybody Needs to Be With Someone. Those are like the best songs on the album. Goodbye My Friend, that's another great one. Yeah, there's some really good songs on this album. It's just there's some tracks that aren't as good. It's like that whole period of when Don Dokken was trying to perfect, like, where the band was going to go. This is kind of one of the transitional albums. I do like this album a lot. I have picked up a CD for it. It's an 8.8, which is a little above average. So I do consider this album to be pretty good. It's fun listening every time I listen to this one. So yeah. Number 10, I don't own a copy of. I have 9 out of the 11. So that's neat. Next one is Erase the Slate. Their 1999 album. The one just before Long Way Home. They definitely did a little bit better than this. Long Way Home was definitely worse than this album. Not by much. 8.9. Yeah, kind of have a cold, so bear with me. And yeah, weed whacker. I have to bear with that because I'm recording it during the day. That's why I have the air conditioning on. So, yeah. What is with this album? Songs like "Change the World," "Voice of the Soul," "In Your Honor," and, "Crazy Mary Goes Round." There's some good ones on here. There's some ones that I don't really like too much, like "Maddest Hatter" and "Drown." Yeah. And then we go to, what one is it? Why is that one on there? Why isn't it? What the hell? I just listened to this one. Oh, there we go. Number 9, Hell to Pay, from 2004. The one right after Long Way Home. Damn. Fucking God, man. I seriously can never do videos because I hate this window. Bear with me. I can't really take that much time to do these videos anymore, so it's kind of like it's on a tight schedule, so this is when I'm recording it. Hell to Pay, 9.4, a lot better. Songs like The Last Goodbye, Don't Bring Me Down, Escape, Haunted, Prozac Nation, Care For You, Better Off Before, Still I'm Sad, Surrender, Letter to Home, Can You See? Can You See's a little bit, I don't really like that song too much. That's where it drops off, and then Last Goodbye is a little bit on the iffy side for me. So yeah, that's what I think of Hell to Pay. Get through that album pretty quickly because there's really nothing to talk about with that album. It's mostly like just a Dokken album. It's not really anything I will go back to too much. These albums I won't go back to, usually the bottom half. Next one is number 8, Lightning Strikes Again. They're trying to return to the 80s material, and there's a weed whacker again. Can't really do nothing about that. Standing on the Outside, that song is amazing. I like that song to start out, and it has the pinches, the harmonics that I really enjoyed with their 80s material. Another thing is, people are going to be pissed off with me, but the 80s material and some of the other material kind of trade off with me. So you're going to find that out pretty quickly, that the 80s material is not my favorite. There's some albums in the later discography that I like a little bit more than some of the 80s stuff. 2, Give Me a Reason, Heart Stone, Disease. That's one of the songs, like, I skip that song every time I go to it, Disease. How I Miss Your Smile, Oasis, No Return, I Remember, Judgment Day, It Means, Release Me, and This Fire. Returning to 80s material, trying to return to the 80s material sounding, but the problem is that Don Dokken's voice won't go there, and you could hear that in this album. That's another reason why it goes a little bit down. It's because you could hear the when he tries to hit the high notes, it just doesn't do it. He just can't do it on this album. But still, some good material, some good songs. I really do like it. It gets 9.5, just a little bit more than Hell to Pay. So yeah, I'm trying to go through these pretty quickly. So hopefully you guys aren't that mad about that. And here's where I start gartering. So hey, number 7 is one of their original 4, Breaking the Chains, their first release. Yeah, this album is the first perfect 10 out of 10 rip rating. I do consider this album perfect, but there's just way better albums than this. There's one album that I will seriously, that I just love that everybody else hates, and you'll find that one out. Breaking Chains in the middle, Felony. That Felony song is a little bit not appropriate nowadays. I Can't See You, Live to Rock, Rock to Live, Night Rider, 7. Let's say the Felony song back then wasn't appropriate, and it's not appropriate now. Seven Thunders, Young Girls, Stick to Your Guns, and Paris is Burning. Yeah, it's the first Dokken album. It has that sound of what's to come, but it just hasn't developed enough to be my favorites. And it kind of has like a thin production, almost. But the production's still perfect for the time. It's a classic of its time. It's not like, I'm not going to judge it on like how the new albums are. I'm going to judge it on how it was at the time, and it was great at the time. So, yeah. And Breaking the Chains is the first Dokken song I've ever heard. Number 6, Dysfunctional, 1995. Yeah, a lot of these songs were supposed to be on the second Dokken solo album, but they reformed Dokken band at the time, so they decided to put some of the songs on here, and they never got put on a Dokken solo record. Inside Looking Out, that song is amazing. I love that song so much. Hole in My Head, The Maze, another good one. Too High to Fly, Nothing Left to Say, Shadows of Life, Long Way Home, Sweet Chains, Lesser of Two Evils, What Price, and From the Beginning. Number 10's For What Price is amazing. Those backing vocals on that album, this song is amazing. Yeah, it's more of like along the lines of what other bands are doing in the 90s, and they're kind of, it's an inspired work. The thing is with Dokken is a lot of people hate on them for what they went to after the 80s, but they weren't inspired by that anymore. And they went head first into what they were inspired by, and it shows. I know a lot of people won't be fans about it because they're fans of their earlier material, but things you gotta understand with bands sometimes is when they're inspired by something else, they're gonna do something else. And yeah, people like me can see, I personally can enjoy that stuff when they do that kind of. So yeah, this album is pretty freaking good. Number 5, Tooth and Nail, 1984. Yeah, 1984. That songs like Tooth and Nail, Just Got Lucky, probably the best one on there. Heartless Heart, Don't Close Your Eyes, When Heaven Comes Down, Into the Fire, Bullets to Spare, Alone Again, Turn on the Action. Classic 80s material. Yeah, it's just got that 80s sound, but it wasn't as perfected as Under Lock and Key. That's the thing. This album is not as good as Under Lock and Key and Back to the Attack by any chance. It's kind of when they were still finding their sound. And that's going to make some people mad too, because people, like, this is some of people's favorite album. I personally like other ones more than this one. Yeah, the songs like Into the Fire and Alone Again are classics. I know, those are like the songs I started listening to when I first got into the band. But exploring their discography more the last few years has gotten me into some other albums like Number 4, which people absolutely despise this album, and I don't get why. I kind of get why. It's more of a darker, gloomier, and slower approach. But it's kind of not like their other stuff, which is Shadow Life. Yeah, widely considered the worst album. This was like the first one of their albums that I listened to after Back for the Attack, and over the years of listening to it, I've listened to it a lot. I've actually started to like this album. Not started like I like this album a lot. This album is fantastic in my opinion. It's meant to be really slow and drawn out and just long. It feels long when you listen to it. But there's a lot of changes, like the first song, Puppet on a String, it's just that. It just progresses and progresses and progresses. I like that style. It's more drawn out and it's more, it's alternative. It's an alternative rock album, which Dokken never did another one of these, and it's a special album. It really is a special album to me. Cracks in the Ground, Sky Beneath My Feet, Until I Know, Hello, Convenience Store, Messiah. That's actually a really good song as well. I Feel, Here I Stand, Hard to Believe, Sweet Life, Hit the Regret, I Don't Mind, and Until I Know, Slight Return. Long and very slow, and the guitars are actually really heavy, but it's kind of, they did what they were inspired by again, but the thing is, with what they did what they were inspired by, their fans hated it because it was something drastically different. And I've explored a lot of different types of music, so this is actually pretty good for me. Number 3, Back for the Attack. I don't have to say 10 out of 10 again because, well, you already know that these albums are 10 out of 10. I like everything on them. Kiss of Death, a great start. Prisoner, Night by Night, Standing in the Shadows, Heaven Sent, my favorite one on here. Mr. Scary, So Many Tears, Burning Like a Flame, Lost Behind the Wall, Stop Fighting Love, Cry of the Gypsy, Sleepless Night, and Dream Warriors. Yeah, I remember this album from, Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, with Dream Warriors being the title of the album, or the movie. Like, it was like the main thing in the movie, the main theme, and they kind of made the song off it, which was kind of cool. Yeah, and Heaven Sent, that solo was amazing on Heaven Sent. The riffs, the lyrics, just everything about it. So Many Tears, Burning Like a Flame. Yeah, it's when they got their sound right. and I can't really tell if they were very inspired to do like the '80s style, because like they've actually come out and said that they weren't, a little bit, like they don't like that, they don't like those albums anymore almost. So yeah, that's what I got from like their interviews and stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna move on. I've said enough for that album. Number 2, Under Lock and Key. Usually people's number 1, that or Back for the Attack, but I did listen to an album front to back repeatedly after I started listening to Dokken, and it was when it just came out as well. So yeah, I wasn't around in the '80s, so you probably know what that album already is. So this album starts out with Unchain the Night. Fantastic. Fantastic song. The Hunter, In My Dreams, Slipping Away, Lightning Strikes Again. Lightning Strikes Again. That's a title of one of their other albums. What the hell? It's not love. Jaded Heart. Don't Lie to Me. The Sunrise Until the Living End. Everything on this album is perfect, but there's one album that I like a little bit more than this, and it's been my favorite for years. So, just songs like Unchain the Night. The opening riff on that song is just killer. The solos are killer. Everything's killer. But yeah, it's their best '80s album, in my opinion. And that brings us to number 1. I'm going to talk about this album quite in depth, because I've listened to it maybe over 1,000 times almost, which is Broken Bones. The recent one, there's some great songs on here, like Best of Me, like that's a great song. Broken Bones, Empire, that opening song Empire is so good. Waterfall, Victim of the Crime, Burning Tears, Today, For the Last Time, Fade Away, and Tonight. They took what they were doing on Lightning Strikes Again, and they turned it down. He didn't try those really big high notes like he tried on that album, and this album just works. It's fantastic. I had to really track down a copy for this too, because like the other copy that I had before, like years ago, I listened the hell out of it, and there's not available on Spotify. So that's another thing that's the downside of this album, is you can't find it on Spotify, and it's an absolute bitch to find it on CD. Yeah, my favorite one on here is Best of Me. All-time best Dokken song that they've ever made. Today's good as well. Burning Tears, Victim of the Crime, Waterfall. I'm gonna go in the booklet here, because I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. Yeah, just the choruses for Best of Me is my favorite, and the rest of the songs are almost just as good. So yeah, I consider Broken Bones to be the best Dokken album. I know I'm a huge fan of them, so don't rip on me too bad. I already know I'm gonna garner some hate from this one, because people fucking despise some of the albums that I fucking put high, but that's just my personal opinion on the matter. That's how I rank Dokken. It's what I think of every single one of their albums. I like every single one of them. So that's how I rank Dokken. I don't know when another video is coming out, because I'm kind of busy. I just crammed this video in, so see you guys in the next video. Follow my Instagram and follow my TikTok. They're Metallical Mania with an underscore in the middle of Metallical and then Mania. So that's gonna do it. Hope you guys liked it. If you want to leave some hate comments, go leave some hate comments. I'll probably like them anyways because, well, I don't care. I don't care about hate comments on here. I get them all the time. If they're death threats, then I delete them.